Hey, my name's Alexis Garrett with Alexis Drake, and this is Pain to Profits.
Y'all wanna get turned? I heard that you trying to go climb to the top. I start from the bottom, it's kinda like putting on socks. You ready? Yeah, y'all ready or not? Don't let me get hot, though. Clean like a mop, whole world is shot. This place gon' knock, this place gon' rock. Y'all ready or not? Ready or not? You ready or not? You ready or not? Pay my dues, punch that clock. You ready or not? You ready or ready or not? You ready or not? You ready or not? You ready or not? Pay my dues, punch that clock. Ready or not? You ready or hey.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Pain to Profits. I'm your host, Samson Jagoras, and on every episode, we're unpacking the wisdom, knowledge, and experience of entrepreneurs who are in the trenches and building their business in order to help you guys save time and level up. And today, we have Alexis Garrett with Alexis Drake as our guest, and we're very excited to hear her story. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, give everybody a rundown. Who is Alexis Garrett?
Who's Alexis Garrett? I don't know. That's a
Where'd
good
you
one.
grow up?
That's where I go. Thank you.
Let's start
Sorry.
there.
Okay. I grew up in Cheyenne, Wyoming. I went all through elementary school and high school in Cheyenne. Loved growing up in the West, small town. Went to the University of Arizona for college.
Cool.
And then from there, got married and went and moved to Chicago, Illinois.
What did you study in college?
Oh, I love this part. I went in thinking I was going to be a civil engineer.
Oh, wow.
Loved math, loved all that. I realized that I did not fit in.
You weren't like super into like really dry and boring stuff?
No, I was like the loud social, like everybody around me was like, why is she talking?
Well,
like,
that's what I mean. Like engineers are just very like buttoned up and tight-lipped. And
No, we would be on these teams together, like building catapults, and they'd be in competition against each other. And I'm like, we are on a team. Have you ever been on a team? And they're like, no. And I'm like, are you serious?
Yep.
Like, so literally I was trying to encourage them like what a team looks like and how to be on a team.
So I quickly realized I'm an alien.
Yes.
I need to go to a different planet.
Yes. And so then I went to the business school.
Smart.
And literally it took me like 2 weeks to call my dad and tell him that I had switched majors.
There's a lot riding on that.
It was, yeah. No, he was, I don't know. Math and like physics and all that stuff has been always just a big part of me. And I love that part, but I'm also very creative. And so the move to business, he was an accountant like by trade, and then he was an executive. And so I think he was just like, no, don't go there yet. Like keep doing it. But went there and enjoyed the classes that I was, I guess put in, when you go right into, there's, whatever the entry level 101.
Undergrad.
Yeah, whatever. But I didn't like the competition. I love competition.
In business school?
Yes.
Yeah.
I did not like the competition there. I was an athlete growing up. I love that type of competition. That drives me every morning. What I didn't like is they would literally climb over you no matter what it is. I mean, the amount of the difference in business. And I get it.
It's like the corporate ladder, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like step on anybody, you get whatever you need. B schools are that way.
Yeah.
They can be that way because everybody thinks that, I got to get into the best grad school, the best MBA, and got to get the best title and got to become the baccalaureate, whatever. I don't even know how to say that word. Right?
I don't either. So I was just I wasn't interested in that type of competition. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I love competition, and
competition and cutthroat are two different things. So I can agree with that.
Yeah. Probably maybe after a semester or two. The business school at the University of Arizona and the art school and the architecture college are like in the same little like neighborhood, I guess.
Right.
They're and as I was leaving the business school one day, I was like, I'm just going to pop into the art school just for fun. I've always had an art background, like always made stuff, always, doodled. I mean, like the stack of sketchbooks I have from growing up is insane. It's like ridiculous.
Yep.
Like I have a bin in the garage. Like that's how many, there's too many. I just popped in and I literally was like walking down the hallway and this gal with like purple hair walked by and I'm like, oh my God, I'm home. Like this is my place.
The weirdos, I'm here.
Yes,
Welcome.
I fit in. I totally fit in. And it was I ran into the counselor's office or whatever, the registrar or whatever you go to. And I was like, all right, so if I were to move to this college, like how far behind would I be? And she's like, oh no. She's like, you're fine. You can still graduate in 4. And I still have like 3 minors. And
was this in the course of like your first year at school?
I think it was like my second semester.
Okay.
Because after that first semester, my engineering professor was like, you are too cool to be an engineer. And I was like, I don't know about that.
Your first 3.5 years are really just getting all the BS stuff that you don't care about anyways.
Yeah,
out of the way,
exactly. So. Yeah. I just didn't, I had toyed around with the architecture school. And then I think, again, between engineering and architecture, you have this rule book that you have to follow, and it a lot of times crushes all the creativity.
Man, my wife is the same way. She hates that. Like, don't put me in a box.
I know, and that's it. And like, there are rules. No, there's no rules.
You still got 2 minors too. So what were your minors in?
Classics and art history.
What the heck is classics?
Classics is like, Greek. Okay. I took Greek, and then with all the art history, classic films, classic. Theater. There was all this archaeological. It was all just learning about the classics. So
cool.
It was really cool. I had some really cool professors.
That's super
learning about film.
You graduated in 4 years.
Yep.
With a degree and 2 minors.
Yes.
Dang, you're badass.
Yes. I don't know.
It took me 5 years, and C's get degrees, baby. Let's go.
Oh, hey, they do. No, I get it. I totally get it. So, and I worked for the women's basketball team. I was a manager.
Sweet. So, that's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, U of A's got a great basketball program.
Wonderful. The time of Lou Olson was amazing.
That's incredible. So you graduate and you start working after school. What do you end up doing after you graduate?
After we graduated, I literally graduated and then 2 weeks later got married.
Oh, wow.
And so moved to Chicago. And then my husband started law school. And so it was like, go get a job so you can pay rent.
Yeah, because I'm going to be in hell for 3 years.
Yes, exactly. And it was more one of those there we go. It was more, what can I do that would make enough money so that we wouldn't be completely broke, but we were broke the whole time. This is fine.
Did you? Yeah. Well, that's
normal, right?
Not abnormal.
Yeah.
I know. I was telling you offline about one of my best friends. We played middle linebacker together in high school, and that went into the military, still kind of broke, served for a number of years, then went to the Naval Academy, then went back to law school. And sometimes I'm like, man, your wife is an angel. My wife is a really good woman. I think she would have stuck with me, but dang, you guys were living the hard life. Because he's also just to get through law school. Mm-hmm. I mean, it consumes your life. You ain't got time for anything else.
Well, and that's what I don't think I understood that. And he was in the library all the time, and I was like, are you okay? I feel like that's way too much time to focus. Of course, I'm like, can we go play? Can we go take a walk? Can we go? Can we go look? He's like, I have to study, and I'm like, okay.
Was that hard on your marriage?
We are both only children, and so I think we're both very independent. But at the same time, kind of have the same. We appreciate each other. We love that each other has, their goals and dreams, and we support each other. But at the same time, it was. It was hard, but I don't think so. Just
you're also just young and you don't know any different. You came out of college, we were broke in college. We're still broke.
Well, and I just don't know. We saw a lot of relationships fail, and that was hard for us watching that because we were like, oh my gosh, we're the ones that are married. I guess we have a little bit more to lose, but I don't know. I don't know. We support each other, and at the end of the day, that's kind of where it ends, and that's a good thing. That's where it all comes down to that. And whatever, I supported him all through that, and then now he's been supporting me through this business. So it's a good back and forth.
Did you know you wanted to be an entrepreneur? Did you know you wanted to go do your own thing, or did you have any aspirations or vision for what you wanted when you got out of school?
When I was in school, I actually started. I was failing in a sculpture class, and my professor comes down and he's like, "Okay, so you don't have a grade right now. You are at 0." And I'm like, "I know," but I was really struggling. And he's like, "You need to go intern with this jeweler downtown." And I was like, "Okay, so I can't get the big sculpture. Why do you feel like I'm going to get the little sculpture? Help me understand this." And he's like, "No." He's like, "I just think that this just spin on perspective will help you understand this. I was building furniture in like the wood shop and in the foundry, and it was awesome, but I needed to do an actual sculpture.
Right.
And I was really just struggling with the process. So I go and I intern with this guy, and I just assume that I'm going to be making his stuff. You know, I walk in and I'm like, put me to work. You know, I'm free labor, which is a good thing. I mean, I love this idea of internship. He's like, well, where's your sketchbook? And I was like, well, I thought I was working for you.
Yeah.
And he goes, no, he said, go home, grab your sketchbook and draw out something that you want to make. And I was like, well, I don't make jewelry. Or I don't wear jewelry. I'm super like just simple, and he's like, well, make something you would actually wear, like something that fits your personality. And I was like, okay, all right. I'm like, okay, I have to do this. Like, so I did. I went home, I sketched out a couple things, and he literally from start to finish showed me how to carve the wax, you know, put it in a crucible, and like actually step by step on how to make it.
Yep.
And it was truly the most amazing experience. Awesome.
And changed your life, it sounds like.
Changed my life. Yep. By the end of that, probably first semester, I had an entire jewelry collection.
Wow.
That I came home and had like a trunk show in my living room and sold a bunch of stuff. And then I was like, oh crap, I have to go home and make it all.
Yeah.
So literally till spring break, I worked making it all. And it wasn't great. I mean, I still have some pieces in our collection that are from that very first collection, which are cool. A lot of them have been updated and the designs have been, you know, perfected and stuff.
Yep.
But that was kind of the starting point for me. I've always made stuff and kind of loved the idea of like producing more so I could sell it. Like that is really exciting to me. Whatever that is, like whatever, just that, like making and then helping people with whatever. Like I remember I used to make like note cards and like all that little crafty stuff when
Creativity.
I was little. Yeah. Just anything to make things.
So this is encouraging. So I have two little girls, 9 and 10, almost 11, and they've started creating jewelry.
Nice.
My wife's a creative as well. And they've taken it to the next level though, because they realize at 9 and 10, we can sell these and we can make money.
Mm-hmm.
So they lay it out on a tray and they'll literally go door to door using their cuteness.
I love it.
Hey, hi. So we know it's Christmas is right around the corner, and we thought you guys might be interested in buying some jewelry for some people you love, you know?
Love it.
And so they were gone one day for like 2 hours. I'm like, I'm starting to get a little nervous, you know? So I jump in the car and I drive around and I pull up on my daughter. She's like, Dad, my pants are falling down. I got so much money. We're killing it. And they had sold everything on there. And I was like, come on, you want to get in the car and go home? Like the sun's almost going down. They're like, nah, we just got a few more houses and a couple more pieces.
Oh my gosh.
And so,
that's awesome.
I guess that's how it starts.
Yeah.
How do you, the one thing that I've always thought about with jewelry and any kind of, you know, personal item like that, specialty design, is how do you scale that business? It's got to be very challenging.
It is. So when I was first taught, it was literally step by step. You create it. You know, everything is made by you. You know,
Right.
You are in the studio. Now I hire a company out of Vermont, and they actually do all the casting and finishing for me.
So you come up with the design. You get to kind of maybe make the initial piece.
Yep.
Yeah, this is what it's supposed to look like.
Exactly. And I think that once you kind of figure out like your finishing style or kind of exactly how you want it to look at the end, depending on what they offer or what you decide to add to that surface. Like for us, we like it to be tumbled, and that's an easy finishing, I guess, mechanism. I don't know. Technique. Yeah. But that's, I think, part of just our style in general. And that's with the jewelry. Like I want it to be soft. I want the edges to be like rounded. I don't want anything to be perfect, and because that's just not normal.
Yeah.
So.
Sometimes when things are like too perfect, it feels very sterile.
Yes. And even the time, so we use a laser to actually cut out we used to hand carve all of that. Now we use a laser to cut it out of styrene and then actually take like a file to the styrene to soften all those edges.
Got it.
So that we still can have like the detail that we want out of like a digital image that
Right.
we've created, but then still show the handmade quality. And just, I don't know. It's tricky because you're like, did you carve this or yes, I designed it, but then a laser cut it exact because all of those little itty bitty intricate things are so hard to do.
Yeah, unless you want your piece in like 2030.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
We had to speed the process up a little bit.
Yes, exactly.
So I'm interested to know from that, initial collection to like what you're doing now.
Mm-hmm.
What's the evolution been? We started out with doing jewelry out of a trunk, and then now you have purses and like all sorts of cool stuff. So was that always what the vision was, or did it just grow over time, or people started asking you for more stuff, or what? How's that look?
Yeah.
Because I think that's an interesting part of the journey. Like some people start with a side hustle that just evolves into it, and then they leave their corporate job or whatever it is, and they go into it. And some people don't. They have a very clear vision with where they're going.
And I will have to say, I have never had a clear vision. I am very opposite my husband. He has always had a plan and like everything. I mean, and I'll explain more of that later, but like it's always been a side hustle. The whole creative thing has always been, this is what you do in your free time. This is that thing that takes up all that space when you can't think, or, you're laying in bed and you're writing and drawing in your sketchbook. Like that's the space that it takes up. We moved to Chicago, and I found a studio there that would actually cast everything. And I was able to continue growing the jewelry collection there. We sold into over, I think, 40 different boutiques in the Midwest. Wow. During that time. I'm not sure we made any money. Like it was like a side hustle. I was in the basement, it was my coffee table.
But that's a nice
hobby.
Resume builder to say,
yeah,
I'm in 40 stores.
But this is like 2003. Yeah. Like websites are just starting to like be understood. I remember talking to a website developer, and he's helping me build my website. Like how in my head, like, whoa, that was so long ago.
Now it's not that hard to do.
No. But I mean, and I literally had to like email him changes, and that would take a week to do. Yeah. And by that time I was like, okay, well now I have more changes.
That's when everything was hard coded.
Yes.
So like they had to actually manually write the code. There was no content management systems like WordPress or anything like that.
Yeah. Crazy. Worked on that. Still had my day job. I'm kind of
what was that?
I was working for Crate and Barrel. Okay. I was like a furniture department manager.
Oh,
yes, manager. Yeah, I was a manager. I'm not sure why I was a manager, but it was fun. That led me to advertising. I worked for DDB Chicago in there. I was an art archivist. And then I also was like a junior art buyer for them for a while.
That's rad.
That was fun.
What's an art archivist? You're not even sure.
An art archivist sat in a room and cataloged all of the print ads that the big teams were doing. So some of our clients were like Dell and Bud Light. And so I was literally the library that
Hey, you remember that ad we did 2 years ago for Budweiser? Can we see that ad?
Right. Yep. Yeah.
That's old school.
Yeah. I sat in a room with a giant computer and like cataloged everything, and it was not. I was at the bottom. It was fine. It was wonderful.
Like one step above the mailroom.
It was. Yes. I should have probably been like pushing the beer cart around on Fridays instead of somebody who was cooler. I was at the lowest end. But during that, I had the art buyers were kind of my favorite people. They got to meet with like the illustrators and the photographers and stuff like that. And so they kind of opened up my eyes as to what that looks like, what that part of advertising looks like, meeting with the photographers, meeting with the illustrators, trying to figure out what that whole like process looks like.
Right.
And I think I've always had like I think graphics is part of my world. And that's kind of where that interest almost peaked, just because I was like, oh my gosh, okay, so this is like that missing piece that I couldn't understand how it went from idea to, print ad or commercial or whatever. This is that missing piece. Like those experts that you bring in, and they're like, yeah, I can draw your cartoon, or yeah, I can photograph, your space, and I can show you what that ad needs to look like. It was really cool.
There's a great book called Who Not How. Have you read that book? It's literally all about that topic, which is you don't need to know how to do it.
Right.
You just need to know who can do it.
Yes.
And you surround yourself with those people, and you can go 10 times further, because then you just get to stay in your sweet spot, which is, hey, I'm the creative, the designer person that comes up with the idea, and then you guys all put it together.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. It was cool. I get bored really easily. And so once I had gotten my art archivist job done, then I would like go upstairs and hang out with the art buyers. And
Can I ask you a random question?
Yeah.
What month is your birthday in?
November.
Oh, interesting.
I'm a Scorpio.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I subscribe to that, but
yeah.
You're just similar to me in the sense that like you're creative, but you like business, you have that analytical mind. You can kind of like flip-flop between both.
Yeah.
But I tend to lean more on like I need novelty. I like newness.
Yes.
And being the rookie and trying to learn something.
Well, and that's it. Like it's weird to have both the analytical and the creative.
It's not normal.
No, you're right. That's what I'm no,
I'm saying it's not normal.
Yes. Yeah. No, you're right. Yes. I get so tired of looking at the same things all the time. Yep. And that's what I love about designing is that we can say, okay, we're done with this collection. We can make a new one. Yeah. Like make it go away. And that's my team. They're like, what do you mean make it go away? I'm like, put it on sale.
Yeah. Yep. I've looked at this so many times. Yes. I'm not going to wear it. New collection.
Yes. If I see that color again, no more. So
2003, you're figuring out websites, you're figuring out advertising, you're figuring out that this could be a real business. And the advertising piece closes the gap for you. How does that end up helping your jewelry business? Like, are there some epiphany moments where you're like, I could do this with my own business? Or does that take you on a different rabbit trail?
I think it helps solidify the entire like picture. Like it ties in the marketing. It ties in the design of it, the idea of a collection. What does a collection look like? How deep is it? How long do you have it? Is it personalized? Like, the unfortunate part about being a jewelry maker, designer during that time is that whole artisan was just like blooming. Yeah. So, our competitors were overseas. I mean, I was literally across the aisle at these big trade shows from all these manufacturers that would bring everything over from overseas. And so I'm the one making the stuff. Right. There's like 10 different items on mine and there's like 400, across the aisle. So, and my price point was obviously higher too, even though my stuff was actually, 14 karat gold filled, or I did have some 14 karat gold pieces and it was sterling silver. It wasn't like a base metal. So, and that's where, it was fun to be part of that and look back now and go, wow, the industry is so changed. Yep. Because now we look at it and people are actually looking at, material content. People are actually looking at that artisan. Like, I love this DIY craze. Like, it is the coolest thing. And I'm like, I'm so glad that everybody's on board with this now. And they appreciate it.
100%.
And so that's cool. So it's nice to see that industry shift.
I think too, you got to figure out who you are and how you fit into the space too, so sometimes like we're comparing ourselves to somebody who's not even in the same category necessarily, right? So it's like, you're here at the podcast studio, which is in one of my businesses, the gym, right? And people call us a gym. We're not a gym. We're not boutique fitness. We're not Gold's Gym. We're not Orange Theory. We're not Gold's Gym. We're a private training facility. There are professional private trainers who work one-on-one. And the reason that we get 3 times the industry average personal training ticket is because we serve a different audience than either of those two markets. So yes, we happen to be in the fitness space, but we're in a different category. And that's the part you learn as you grow up. You just don't know that. Yeah. So now what would you call yourself today? How would you define your business today?
Oh, which part?
Just like compared to like that initial, hey, we're in the jewelry business.
Oh, okay.
To like today, is it artisan? I'm just making. I don't like. I'm acting like I know what I'm talking about, but I don't know.
The cool part is, yes, we have kept some of that customization. We still live in the accessories, handbag realm. So different. I mean, still fashion. Yep. We just don't fit in the apparel, like garment, like area, but we are a fashion accessory. So we just, accent that part. What I do love about what we do is we are able to fit anybody. And that's where I think that, we've toyed with, expanding into apparel or expanding into other, industries. And I think that what I love about what we do is that somebody can walk in and we can set them up with whatever they want and we know it's going to fit. Yeah. We've got different styles for different sizes of handbags and different, lengths of chain for jewelry. but we know it's going to fit. And I'm not saying that that's what we always need or, that, but it's nice when, as a female, I know that guys probably do the same, but it's nice to
shirts for me is like one of the prime examples. Right?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. And that's it. You want to feel good in your own skin. And I think that that's our goal as an accessory, is that I'm the laziest person when it comes to getting ready in the morning. I do not want to literally
sharp today.
Well, I wear the same things over and over and over and over again, but my handbag and my jewelry and my accessories, I want to be that personal thing that's me. And that's what I think that we use accessories for, is to not just be the same, black pants and sweater or whatever, but then you add those little touches and that's who you really are. Like those personality traits show through your accessories. And that's
you and my wife would be great friends. She's the same way. One of the things I've come to know about creatives is they're really incredible at creating product. I mean, the product is phenomenal, and to the point where they're over the top obsessed. It's for the perfect person, and if that person saw it, it would be unreal, and they would just buy it. It would be no questions asked. But what have been your biggest struggles being more creative, product focused, growing a business? There's a lot more to growing a team and scaling and doing more. I'm interested to know what some of those pain points have been for you over
the time
tenure.
I started. Let's see. I think the idea we expanded into jewelry, or we expanded into handbags in 2013. So huge. We actually took a break from everything. We started having kids. It was one of those things, my creative brain died with childbirth. And then it grew back. Yeah. But I think when we expanded into handbags, it was somewhere outside of my realm of knowing. I know how to sew, but I didn't know how to sew leather. I had a sewing machine, but I didn't have the right type of machine. And so that for me was trying to find the right people that would help us get tested, test the market. Right. And that was I've always wanted to test. I mean, that's how I think, business people, if there's a need, you will know, right? Yeah. The people who are around you will show you that there is a need for it. They will celebrate it. They will support it, no matter if there's tons of crooked stitching and terrible pockets. They support you because maybe they know you, but they also say, okay, I see the possibility here. Yep. And so for us in the beginning, the struggle was finding people that would actually help us create the product without a huge investment on the machine end, and just to see if it works, to see if it's even viable. Is it worth it? Because like I said, I didn't wear jewelry, then we started making jewelry. I didn't wear a handbag, and then we started making handbags. And so the idea that we could actually create something that would be for everybody, or that would be so easy to carry, I wanted it to make sense in I guess our field of supporters or of customers. I wanted to really understand who our customer is and what they would be willing to.
In the world of tech, we have a fancy saying for that, which is product market fit.
Yes. It
sounds super fancy.
It's very fancy.
But you just try it a bunch of times and then let the market tell you what they like and what they don't like before you go make that big investment. So how do you, this is similar, in the fitness space, if you want to get into the supplement world, there's ton of product manufacturers who will do it. It's write us $100,000 check and buy, 6 months worth of supply up front. It's that's not realistic. No. I just want a sample to make sure before I make this commitment and then test it and see if people like it. If they like it, then I'll go do more. Similar to what you're doing. So how do you overcome that? Did you find a manufacturer that would do it for?
I found a tarp maker.
A
tarp maker.
Oh, tarp.
Yes,
okay,
tarp.
I heard tart no,
tart.
That's a hard way.
A bakery downtown. No, so tarp maker. Well, he specialized in tarps, and then he also would do car upholstery and like snowmobile upholstery. He would repair a bunch of stuff. His dad, who was 80, would come in on the weekends and sew my handbags. I literally would drop off a stack of leather that was chalk marked with where the pockets needed to be, and everything laid out very clear on that, and then pray that when I picked it up, like
It was right.
it was right. The stitching was very crooked because it was, and I don't mean to say this, but it was done by a man who was 80, who probably had no idea
He was just going for function.
Exactly.
It's a bag. Hold some
He
shit.
was, and exactly. and it stayed together, right?
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
but like I said, like I would drop off a ton and then pick them up, and then they would sell so quickly that I'd literally have to turn around and drop off another one. And it would take probably 2 weeks for them to stitch, and I'd pick them up. And there would be some I couldn't sell because of the crookedness. But again, people supported it. People knew that I was making these handbags, and I don't know. I mean,
At that juncture, did you have a storefront?
No.
So how were you selling them?
It was literally word of mouth. I did have my website still.
Yep.
So from the jewelry. And so we just started to kind of, I mean, like I was like taking pictures in my dining room of my mannequin wearing my handbag.
Yeah. Wow.
Terrible lighting, like awful. But like I said,
just so for everybody who's listening to this, that's like a super valuable lesson, which is don't overthink it. Like, don't be perfect. You don't have to be perfect in order to get started. You need to know enough to be dangerous. And sometimes you just got to go actually freaking do the thing.
Yes.
And then figure it out and learn by trying. You learn 10 times more by just doing it than you ever would about talking about it. The best analogy is we can talk about shooting a basketball, but eventually you got to go take some shots.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and then you learn so much. You learn about your customer. You learn what they want. You learn what color they want. You learn what size of handle they want.
Yep.
Like that feedback is gold.
100%.
It is amazing. And I meet with some entrepreneurs like at coffee shops, and they're like, well, I have this idea. And I'm like, make your idea. Do whatever you can do to make it. And then, like, I don't think Andy Warhol has this great quote is while you're deciding whether people are liking it or not, just keep making it.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, and that's it.
You'll find your vibe attracts your tribe. You'll figure out who you're serving. As you get better, like, you know, I'm on number 4 in terms of businesses, and I've been in the game for a long time, but you start to be able to go, okay, here's what I know from my other experience. So what I know now, who is the perfect person that would be a good fit for this type of product?
Yes.
And now I can get a little bit closer to product market fit. And then from there, I'm still going to have to optimize through feedback.
Absolutely. Well, and then we talk about different locations later. And that's where total loop change.
Like Cheyenne versus Fort Collins kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So just totally different product market.
Totally different product market. We're just learning more so about our customer. We knew going into the Fort Collins market that we would have a challenge of sharing our story. Like, that's why we have so much support in Cheyenne, is because we're a small community. People talk.
Yep.
They know our story. They've known us from the garage days. Like they've known us through the crooked stitching tarp maker days. Like they've known us through that. They've seen our product grow and get better. Now we have this amazing product that is better and beautiful. And then we have to kind of switch that. And so we have now, here's this beautiful product. Let me tell you how it's made. Yeah. And and one thing that I don't think we've talked about is we actually manufacture everything in-house. And
Cheyenne, right?
In Cheyenne, yes, in our studio there. So that's where, for us, we have so much control over the quality, over the speed, over all of that stuff, and the customization, which is offered. It's in our world, it's kind of like the top of the top. It's quite more expensive, but at the same time, we use like our everyday collections and our evergreen collections is kind of, we call it the gateway drug. So we get them in love with our product and the way that we make our product and, you know, quality and the wearability of our product. And then we kind of dangle do you want to pick your stitching? Okay. How about you pick your lining next time? Do you want to pick a different color? Okay.
That's cool.
So it is a really cool thing. And then learning how to scale that's where
the customization part.
Yeah. Because it's a one-off type of thing. But we're learning, and like every dorky entrepreneur, like we learn one new thing and we're like, oh my God, this is the coolest thing. How come I've not how come I didn't know this before? But it's like, well, because you weren't at this point to even understand why you needed this information. And that's where we are now. So I don't know if we've skipped over.
No, you're doing
too much.
No, you're doing great. That is the entrepreneurial journey. So my brain, a lot of times, just coming from my background in like marketing and technology, you basically have like a loss leader, like low ticket, get you in the door, and then you're just ascending the client all the way up into the ultimate high ticket. How many of your initial purchasers of maybe one of your standard bags ends up upgrading to a custom bag? Is that a pretty high conversion rate?
Pretty high conversion rate. I mean, lifetime value for our customer is probably, oh gosh, I can't remember. We've given it like
gave it a real number,
but it's more of like quantity of bags. Which
how many bags do they?
Yeah, exactly. Which I love because like people will come into the store and they're like, "Well, I have 8," and I'm like, "What do you do with 8 bags?"
Yeah, you're like, well, maybe we should make it 9.
I know. I was like, we can help you with that. But it's always amazing to me because like my closet has like probably 5 bags in it.
Yeah.
Granted, I clean it out and we do this misfit sale every year. And so half of the ones that I've, used and tried on and, explored the style or the size.
Yep.
And I don't end up there. I don't know. I feel like I'm a very fickle handbag carrier, which is probably.
You got to change it up though. I mean,
yeah,
your style changes, the season changes, all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
I'm a big handbag carrier, although today I don't have a big handbag. I have my smaller one.
So I'm interested to know how you guys get awareness for your product today. This is a 2-part question. Are you primarily selling out of retail, and are you also doing e-commerce?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Which one does more revenue?
Retail.
Mm-hmm.
Brick and mortar.
Because they want to come and try it and feel it and test it, or
I
is
think
it your
so.
advertising driving it that way?
That's not. I think that truly we just. That's a really good question. People know that we started online, so we started selling out of our garage and online, so that there was always an access point via the web.
Yep.
Once people could, there were people who came and we would call it shop the garage, which was hilarious because, I've got Christmas decorations next to the sewing machine.
Hold on, let me get this box out of here.
Exactly.
Pull this one off the shelf.
It was like, oh, wait, don't mind my child in the back screaming. Like,
you'd be amazed, man.
Oh. And you know what? I love it. I miss it so much. I don't think my family misses it at all. But I have pictures of my daughter like laying like next to my bench in her diaper because she got too tired of waiting for me to tuck her in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm a terrible mom. But she was very comfortable laying on the garage floor in her diaper.
She got her time with you. That's what she needed.
It's like awful. Like these poor kids, I'm sure are going to be in therapy someday and be like,
they'll
my
be,
mom.
They'll be fine.
Yes,
I don't remember crap from that age, to be honest with you.
I know.
It's good for them.
And I hope they see it. I hope they understand that there is a sacrifice, but in a good sense, that they see the hard work and they see the dedication and they see the ups and the downs and they understand. Like that's what I had a mom come in and she's like, oh, I just feel so bad that I'm not giving my kid enough attention. And I'm like, you are giving them plenty of attention. What they're seeing is you do good in your business, in your world, and then do good for other people. But they see the realness. Like they shouldn't be exposed to just rainbows and butterflies. Like they need to see the real, the hard work, you want to show
the grit,
what ethic looks like.
Yep,
like,
100%.
and I think that's a gift. I saw my parents work hard, and I think that's important.
100%.
Hard work.
Raising entrepreneurial kids is something that me and my wife are constantly talking about. Whether they go on to be entrepreneurs or not, it's just having the resiliency to know that, like, hey, I can make my own way, and I can create value for the world. And by doing that, people will want to give me money for what I have to offer. And that your worth comes from your ability to add value to the world, not necessarily like what you have or what you wear or whatever it may be. So back to marketing.
Okay. I'm glad you remember this stuff.
We're good.
Sorry.
No, that's my job. But marketing's a topic I'm really passionate about. And I'm just interested to know how you guys do get your message and your story out there. Coming from the world of marketing, people used to come to us all the time thinking that marketing would solve their problem. On the other hand, you have a good product. You've been in business for a long time. So I'm interested to know, how are you actually driving people into the store? Because it seems like it's a very tactile, hands-on, I need to experience it type of thing. And I do believe that experience-based retail is one of those things that's going to win long-term. You can't get rid of it. I can't get that same. The reason that I don't buy pants online is because, like, I'm an athletic dude, and like jeans don't always fit me the same way. So I have to go try them on, right?
There is somewhere in the market for this style, because I tried to fit my kid in a.
He's like 250, right?
Yeah, but in an athletic body in slacks for a dance,
Nope.
and I literally am asking. I'm like, so
take him to the big and tall store.
Yeah, that's where we were at. But then we had to like take in stuff, and I'm like, wait, we need to build a literally like an athletic like apparel brand. I mean,
there's some that are evolving. I know because I'm deep in this world. Because I got a torso that's about 5 inches, and I got a chest that matches somebody that should be like 6'5". So I have to buy long shirts, even though I'm not very tall, to make up for my broad shoulders. But they're out there. They're coming.
Okay, good.
If he needs some guidance,
I'm sending him your way.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But what do you guys do? Do you guys run paid media? Do you do content marketing? How do you advertise?
We have been playing around in this space for a really long time. I'm a big believer in you try it for a while. If you see the ROI, go for it. If you don't, you quit.
Yep.
We've played in the digital ad spend space twice now, and I am unfortunately going to say we will probably never play there again. What I do, and so back to in the beginning, what I've always wanted with our product and with our customer is that relationship. I want them always to know that we back our product 100 million %. If they've got questions, they come to us. So that first point of contact is that we grab their email.
Right.
We grab their email or their text, whatever. Both, I think we've got both our capabilities in our system. With that, then we have that opportunity to retarget, whether they are a customer or whether they're a prospect. What I've always felt so passionate about is that once you have their email and their approval to market to them, you have the capability of popping into their inbox as much as you want.
And your open rates are just way better.
Yes. Yeah. They used to be lower, but now I think that
they're just bombarded.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I do every year at this time of year is I start to cleanse all the crap that I picked up over the year.
Yes. Yeah.
And I keep a couple emails, ones that are important to me.
Yeah.
So you're not wrong. And most ladies, if you're listening to this, they're keeping they want to know when they can get their custom handbag for maybe there's some sort of special whatever going on. Or
what's new. We do one of a kind bag releases like monthly. Like we're learning so much about this space and our customer. Like I said, like that's the beauty of being in business for a while, is that you really can hone in on that and who your customer is or who you'd like to add to your customer base.
Yep.
And that's what we're learning with the Fort Collins store is that, okay, we're hearing a lot of this will be great for my mom.
Yep.
Okay, well, what would be good for you? Like you tell me your price point, you tell me your fit. Like let's talk about this so that I can get you and your mom. Like let's figure it out. Let's figure out like what about this? Like does it need to be more sporty? Does it need to be smaller? Does it need to be bigger? What type of function is it?
Yeah.
And we're calling this customer the casual shopper. And this casual shopper has a budget of about 100 to almost 200. But it's called the literally how do we even say it? We call it she walks in and she doesn't have to think about the purchase. Like it's a literally like
if it's like sub 200,
exactly.
I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't have to ask anybody's permission. Not that they do, but I don't have to like think on it for a while.
Well, yeah, like my wife, she's amazing. She's not materialistic at all, but when she wants to buy something, she'll spend the money. Not, it's going to be nice.
Yeah.
But there is a certain number. Now that you're saying it, I don't think about it, but there's a certain number where she'll like consult me on it.
Yeah.
Like, you need to consult me on it. Like you don't ask for anything. Like just buy the purse. I don't care.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, maybe it's $300 or something. She's like, I'm going to talk to him about this.
There is a special number and it might not be the same for everybody, but at the same time, I mean, like my husband came home and said he bought a hot tub one day and I was like, funny. You're so funny. No, I knew he was going to do it someday. I just didn't know it was going to be that day. And I was like, you're joking, right? And he's like, yeah, no, I was like, oh, okay. Oh, okay. Like that was real. Okay. And I don't care. Like, it's no big deal, but you're right. Like there is a threshold
to your ascension strategy, right? Of like, what is that number that gets them in the door that then turns them into a customer that we can upgrade over time?
Exactly.
Because their income earning over time is going to increase too, right? your number one time for earning income is in your 50s, right?
Right,
So
right.
maybe I catch you at 30
Mm-hmm.
and then I go all the way through your career and you start making more money. You come back and you want to buy another purse.
Yes.
It becomes a thing to celebrate.
Yes.
Can I make a suggestion to you?
Yes.
If you're not already
Please.
doing this,
No, yes.
you need to quadruple down on content marketing.
Okay.
I mean, you need to be storytelling this in like video format,
Mm-hmm.
TikTok, YouTube Shorts, because that is where your audience is
Mm-hmm.
living and that's how they're consuming. Instagram Reels is another great place that you can be doing that. Facebook Reels, those are all great places,
Mm-hmm.
and it's gonna take a big commitment
Yes.
because it's kind of like trying to get in shape. It's not going to
Mm-hmm.
happen in a week, a month, 2 months, 3 months.
Right.
It's going to take 6 months, 8 months, 12 months of consistent and persistent content marketing. Then you'll have brand.
Yes.
Once you have brand, and this is where everybody's screwing up with media and marketing,
Mm-hmm.
is they jump straight to the paid media. It's like you have no brand reach, no exposure,
Right.
nobody knows who you are. But if I
Right.
layer in paid media on top of brand,
Mm-hmm.
and I can show the reputation that you've built and the quality of the product through story, because 90% of the research process is done before they actually commit, then you guys will inevitably dominate. But it's going to take a different strategy or tactic or approach.
Mm-hmm. And we have seen we've got a Facebook following and an Instagram, and we try to do that on a daily basis.
See the keywords.
So,
Try that.
I know.
Who's your client avatar? What are you creating?
Right.
What do they care about?
Yeah.
And another way to think about it, at least the way that I think about it, is who's the Luke Skywalker to your Yoda story?
Yeah.
Like you're Yoda.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know what that is because
Yeah.
I have a hard time picturing myself in that seat, but I'm sure we could get there.
We do have some very nice men's.
Do you have men's?
laptop. Yeah.
Like a shoulder bag?
Mhm. We've got a beautiful
I'll be damned.
briefcase satchel made out of bison leather, which is very
Let's go.
it's rugged and awesome. Yes.
Well, I'm a buff too, so I'll take it.
Yes.
That's pretty badass.
Yeah.
Well, what are some of the biggest wins that you've had in the last 2-3 years? You know, COVID's been kind of a tumultuous time for people, you know, so rather than focusing on the negative of that,
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of positives that came out of that. What are some of the things
I would
that you
agree.
did different?
So, I think I'm probably along most entrepreneurs or most business owners during that time. And I literally woke up that day that, right before the whole world shut down.
Lockdown, yeah.
And I was like, we're gonna die. Like we're gonna fold. Like it's gonna be bad. I don't know how to take care of my team. I think I looked at my husband and I'm like, I don't know what the future, like I have zero knowledge as far as what's going to happen. And so truly I kind of like dug deep inside me and I thought, well, what do I need right now? And so I need that little bit of positivity. And I kind of shared that with like our media, our online, we did newsletters. I did like daily drawings and just that daily, like, hey, I know we're all in this really weird, scary space, but I'm not coming into your inbox to sell a handbag. I'm just coming into your inbox to say, hey, and I see you. Yeah. Here's like a stupid little sketch of my Nalgene bottle, or like I drew an Oreo. Look at me. Like, like just like little things. We did try to capitalize on the DIY space. We actually have like do-it-yourself like capsule wallets, and so
that's cool.
We really we were like, oh hey, we could send these home to people, and they could actually make their own capsule wallet at home with their kids.
That's a great idea.
So like we had I think 5 or 6 different kits that we started to make a lot. What we didn't realize is that people were still going to buy handbags even though we really weren't going to go anywhere.
Because they want to feel good.
And that was it. And it was the one thing that they were like, I love this bag. I've been thinking about it. And now I just got
it
this.
Might be dead tomorrow. So I'm buying the bag.
Exactly. But it was a lower year than normal, but we didn't fold. Like it was a beautiful, I think for us, it helped us really kind of organize our brand story and kind of just understand like who are we really? What is our message? Like how do we speak to our customer and still be authentic? Because I will have to say like my biggest push on just about everything in life is that you are real, that you are authentic. Like this is what you get. Like I'm not going to be somebody different.
Well, that's been the hardest part about social media, right? It's like everybody just shows their best self.
Oh, I know.
It's like
Filter.
they're just perfect all the time. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's not life. And people have finally caught on to that where they're like, okay, I don't trust the government. I don't trust cryptocurrency. I don't trust the stock market. I don't trust the health industry. And so they're craving authenticity. And so like we always say, like Darius, our producer, always says, your intent matters.
Yes.
What's your intention with the content that you're creating? You know, like who are you? Because it's becoming very obvious when you see people's intentions are very self-serving. You know? Right. So yeah, I love that.
I think that, and that's, I will have to say over the course of this entire thing, it's been so fun to learn more about who I am. And I'm not saying that like I'm done growing or anything, but just growing and finding out like what really like lights me up and then how I can share that. And just be a helper in that, like, or just, I don't know, just say a positive thing. Like I love it when somebody comes into the store and I'm like, oh my God, how was your trip? And they're like, oh, you remembered I went on a trip. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, do you have pictures? Because you went to Switzerland and I'd love to live vicariously through you. Yeah. So, or how was the birthday? Because, you know, so many gifts are bought for other people, or how was the graduation? And so that's truly, I love having that connection with our customers. And that's, I don't know if that's why people come back. Or
I would say it is. I mean, customer service for sure. Have you ever read the book, 1,000 True Fans?
No, I need to write all these books.
That's a good book.
Okay.
We'll do it after. Okay. But the concept is to build a really good, powerful business, you only need 1,000 fans. You don't need millions of followers, right? You just need 1,000 people that love you and identify with you. You're their Yoda.
Yes.
And they're Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
And they're just bought into the story, and your vibe attracts your tribe. And Law of Diffusion of Innovation says 13.5% of any population will align with what you're doing because of what they believe about the world. And then in order for the mass market to buy into that, you first got to have proof through your tribe that other people will buy into it.
Right.
So I think sometimes as entrepreneurs, we just go way too big and think that and that can fill in. That's like looking at Mount Everest, you know, it's like, or what's the saying? How do you eat an elephant one bite at a time, right?
Yeah.
Like, you only need 1,000 really true fans. So if you're clear on who your client avatar is and who you're trying to serve and what you're creating for them,
right,
then it gets very easy to create the product. You might not go as quote unquote fast, but if you're trying to build a healthy and sustainable company long term, then you got to focus on accuracy before speed. You know, you can throw a bunch of money at the wall. I think technology companies and like the world of private equity has just taught people so many bad habits about like, you got to build it quick, what was Facebook? Move fast and break shit.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's great when you have millions of dollars behind you, but that's not how the vast majority of businesses get started and or grow up. You know, the ones that you see that make it that long term, they've been chipping away for 10, 15, 20 years. You know what I mean? So you're doing the right stuff. Yeah. I think that it's one of the things you mentioned in kind of your pre-pod interview was just the loneliness of leadership. How do you overcome that? How do you navigate? Sometimes as the leader, you feel like, man, I got to come up with all the ideas, you know? How do you overcome that?
Yeah. This year has probably been like my year where you kind of identify that loneliness and it's like, oh, this is a weird space.
Right.
Last year, at the end of last year, I kind of reached that point where I've been out of knowledge. And so, I mean, the amount of books that I've been reading or the amount of mentors I've been seeking and just to gain, like, oh, where do we go from here? Like, and that seems to be, you know, like the bubble question of like, where is that next space? Like, but really, where is it? So you have this idea of where you want to go. And then you look at, you know, your numbers and your products and your team and you're like, okay, well, what's real?
Right.
But then I think it all boils down to like if you were to delete all of it, like, what do you want right now? Like, what is that? And that's where this year I had an opportunity to like be part of this. It's called a G Beta. It's a Microsoft kind of startup incubator.
Cool.
And I worked with like 4 other entrepreneurs who don't have, I didn't feel like I fit in the space because I have a company that has a product that has a profit. Like I didn't feel like I fit in. Whereas like the other ones are literally, you know, their runway is like 2 months.
Yeah.
And like they are literally, you know, they're looking at like Series A and Series B investing rounds. And so that whole like idea was never even a thought in my brain until this year. Like the idea that I could actually grow my company and sell it, or the idea that I could get investors to help grow it bigger, or just the idea that my company is like my company, not just my product, is cool to other people. Like they would think it's neat, or that you've done a good job, or they like how you did this, or, oh man, you've got a great product line. You know, you should look at, you know, Nordstrom, or, you know, like, have you thought about this type of, you know, sales channel? This year has been that year where I was like, okay, I think August was like the loneliest month of my life. And I'm an only child, so I love being by myself, but I don't think I've ever been so confused as far as what is next. Like I've always
like identity crisis.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Because your role, in order to make those changes,
Mm-hmm.
your role has to change.
Yeah.
And that's scary when you've been the person who's the creative and coming up with the ideas and you're close to it.
Yeah. Well, and you know what's next. Like, you know what you're doing tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah. And I reached that point. I think there were like many weeks where I couldn't sleep at night, and I would like literally wake up in a hot sweat and go, what's next? Like, what is next? But then what's funny is that I think I realized that, and you mentioned this earlier, you said to grow is one thing. You know, you grow, your, you know, profit margin still stays the same as you grow. We've done that.
Yep.
And now I think we're at that sweet spot where we don't necessarily need to grow, but now we need to scale, and what that looks like. And it's been so fun to just like look at it from that perspective, rather than like, I feel like I've just been climbing straight up a mountain.
Yep.
And I'm tired. I'm so tired.
Growth
I'm
is
freaking tired.
tired.
Oh, I'm just tired of thinking about it. I'm tired of thinking about what's next, or trying to, you know, figure out like, where do I get resources, or where do I get more understanding of what we're doing? And I mean, as entrepreneurs, we think about all this shit all the time. Yep. And I think our spouses are probably like, seriously, turn it off. Like, turn just for a minute, like just through Yellowstone, turn it off. Like, cause it's all about that. Like, but I truly believe that like us going forward, I'm not saying that we've hit like necessarily like a plateau or anything, but I think we've hit that beautiful sweet spot of where that launching can happen. But we're going to work our butts off on our manufacturing like system, like this entire year. Like, we are going to get so solid. We're going to bring our last component of manufacturing in-house. We've got another side of our building that we're building out, and we'll house our laser there and our laser tech. But I am so looking forward to just making that process and those systems within that process so beautiful.
Yes.
That, I mean, I like geek out. Like, I'm like,
that's
this is going to be the most beautiful thing you've ever seen.
You can't grow a business. You build people, process, systems.
Yes.
And then the business will scale itself.
Yes.
And that is the hardest part for entrepreneurs who are generally creative.
Yeah.
Is to say, I don't get to create anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They do. It's just different.
Yeah.
I don't get to create the product.
Right.
I'm orchestrating now. I'm the conductor.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but the orchestra wouldn't be so beautiful without the conductor, right? And bringing everybody together and getting everybody's timing going on. Yeah. Another book for you, and for the guests, is called Built to Sell.
Okay.
Must read.
I've seen that one.
Okay, must read.
Okay.
Because it's literally where you're at. The goal, when we start a business, you're like, oh, cool, I can make money doing this. Mm-hmm. But realistically, we're trying to create an asset. Yes. And in order for it to be an asset, at the end of the road, there has to be optionality. Mm-hmm. Can I sell it? Can I step into an advisory position and it just creates cash flow? Right. Can I merge with another company? Can I buy it? Can I franchise it? What is the what is the option that you're trying to create? And generally, it means doing less and not more. Right? It's like, what is our thing that we do really well? Yeah. And that's where we'll go grow and scale. You know what I mean? So well, when you're ready to have that hey, we can go raise some money and kind of make the next step, I'd love to have that conversation with you, because that's definitely something, long game that we're working towards is buying companies and investing in companies by way of our platform and our network and our community. And so, being able to share your story might be one of the ways that we can help you take it to the next level.
That'd be awesome. It's so weird to even think about it, because it's like your baby, you grow it and you're like, why would I ever want to give it away? And it's like, no, it then takes on this new life. It's almost like sending it off to college, and you're just like, yeah, like, well, but I mean, like my husband, he cracks me up. I think anyone in the attorney sphere is always looking at retirement, because I think you work your butt off.
Yeah.
All the time.
I don't know how you do it. Yeah,
I don't know.
70-hour work
No,
weeks
and
regularly.
he's putting out fires all the time, and it's just, I would probably think about retirement then too.
Right.
I don't think about retirement. I don't want to retire. Like in my head, retirement just means working less. Like, because what did you call the retirement? Ikigai. Like that.
Just a new reason to get up in the morning.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
But it changes, right? Like you even talked about it. Like when you had kids, your focus was more there. That was, and then okay, they're good. All right, boom. I got a new reason to get up in the morning. We all need that. You know what I mean? Entrepreneurs are chasing 4 freedoms. This is from a guy named Dan Sullivan. Freedom of time, then freedom of money, then freedom of relationship, and the pinnacle is freedom of purpose. Right? And when you have a self-managing company that can operate on its own, and it doesn't necessarily need you to run the day-to-day, now you can be freed up to step into your purpose. What is that? More time in your church, build your charity, whatever. You know what I mean?
Give back to kids.
Give back. Exactly. There you go. So you need to get tapped in on that.
Yeah.
And get clear, because then that makes this next step of like, no, giving up part of my company and raising money to do X, Y, and Z to go to the next level is going to let me do that.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm put here on this earth.
Yeah.
It's not just about the business necessarily.
But I am so glad that like these podcasts exist, because like, I mean, like even just thinking about this crazy year, this is my head. It will be dubbed as the crazy year, because I felt like I went a little crazy this year.
I love it.
But then I think we're back to normal. I'm not normal, but now we're back to knowing what's next.
Yes.
I heard a podcast by Rebecca Minkoff, who I absolutely adore. But she basically said, I don't think that people realize that when you grow your company, the amount of debt that you go into just to grow, or the amount of time, and just your company's doing so well, but then to grow, it doesn't look like or feel like you're doing well, because at the bottom of the bottom line doesn't look like you're doing well, and you're just like, oh, like how are our sales this much, but then this is what's left in the bank, and that's
redeploying back into the investment, the business.
Yeah, and I think that's where it's hard to look at, but then just to have that understanding and knowing that's how it works.
Yes.
Is like, nobody told you that. Like I literally am like in the car driving to Fort Collins to work at the Fort Collins store, listening to this and going, no way. Like, so we're okay. Like we're okay. Like this is okay.
Yes.
Like we're so that word, I just so appreciate these 40, 50-minute podcasts to just get that little like nugget of what then can drive those of us who are like whatever it is. It's like the most beautiful like little moment of knowledge, or just like confidence and a pat on the back, like, oh, you're doing okay.
I love it.
Like so thank you for doing this podcast.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's incredibly important to me. I don't ever lose my energy for doing these podcasts. One, I just love business. I love entrepreneurship, and I love the creativity. It's kind of cathartic for me. I get to sit here and just like, oh, you're giving me ideas, and I'm in, wisdom and things that I'm thinking about. And sometimes you feel like an alien because you have these ideas, and then you say something, and I'm like, I think that same way too. Like I'm not so crazy. You know what I mean? It's awesome.
They're more like us.
Yeah, they're exactly. And so, entrepreneurship can be very lonely. So one of the things we're definitely doing with the podcast is bringing people together and saying, hey, you got a tribe right here in Northern Colorado and across the world eventually, God willing, to expand and say, hey, you need to surround yourself with other entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurs, when you say crazy ideas to the normal person, don't think it's so crazy, right?
Right.
And we all need that. We all need our tribe. So, well, last thing, and then we'll close it out. Somebody's scrolling through right now thinking about taking the entrepreneurial leap, and they need some encouragement, some wisdom, maybe some advice. What would you tell them?
Oh, whatever you want to do, make it very simple. but then make it, just start talking about it, start doing it. Like actually like throw it out into the universe and see what it gives you back. Because whatever you might start out with, you know, your idea is amazing, right? But then you get feedback from other people and then you get to polish it. And once that gets polished, then you can start. I mean, truly, like, I don't know. I always am, I get so excited when we have like a new collection release or something. Like I just cannot wait to share it with people because I am striving to get that feedback from our customer, from our fans or whatever. Like I just want like, oh, that was great. Or, oh, that, no, not for me.
Yeah.
Like, okay, but that gives you a direction and it might not be, like I said, it might not be where you started, but whatever it is, it will send you on that journey and on that path to where you need to be. And it'll kind of just guide you. Like, but that's what I totally believe in the universe, like helping to, I guess, put you in the right spot, put you at the right time, you know, right time and place. And just that ability of communicating it out to your customers or to your friends or your family. I mean, like we always joke that like just because your family has bought all of your stuff, like that doesn't mean
it's good.
It's good. But it's like when your family and your friends and then maybe a couple more people, like you're like, okay, all right, I think this is a good thing.
I think some people are afraid to do that because it's too attached to their ego. So you definitely have to let go of that for sure and be more excited about getting the feedback. So that's incredible wisdom. If people wanted to get a hold of you to maybe connect, follow your story, ask you some questions, what would be the best social platform for them to do that on?
Social platform would be Instagram. We are at WEAR Alexis Drake. So where Alexis Drake.
Okay, perfect. And we'll put that in the show notes.
Okay.
What about if they want to just connect with you personally? Do you hang out on LinkedIn at all?
I am on LinkedIn, yes.
Okay. Cool.
Yep. So and it's Alexis Garrett.
Okay, sweet. We'll put that in the show notes as well.
Awesome.
Well, I appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
I'm so excited to watch your story and what the next steps are going to be. And hopefully in maybe like a year or so, you can come back and talk about all the cool new things you're doing with your systems and your processes.
Oh, I'd love to talk about that. Thank
Awesome.
you so much for having me.
You bet. Until next time.
All right, thanks.